All right, so it is 12:01. We will go ahead and get started. Thank you for being on today's webinar. We're going to learn about our summer 2022 NASPO Internship Program. My name is Brandy Ann Willard. I am the Academic Affairs Manager for NASPO, and with me we have Matt Oyer, the Chief Learning Officer. Please feel free if you have any questions. We will have a slide at the very end where I can go ahead and unmute you if you want to ask the question in front of everybody. You can also use the Q&A settings or the chat settings if you want to go ahead and ask your question there, and then we'll go ahead and answer them as we go. But thank you for being here today. We're very excited to go ahead and get the process started for summer of 2022. All right, so why do we have an internship program? So the NASPO Internship Program became a part of one of our academic initiatives because in order to really elevate the public procurement profession, we really want to get students interested in this career. So this is really going to be a great opportunity for the students to work with the states, and you as the state members get to foster a student's education and create that avenue for emerging talent that we really want to start seeing. This is going to be a great chance to connect with students, show them the benefits of working in the public sector, and really get them excited for an opportunity to get hands-on with your office. I know a lot of students, they're learning many different topics within supply chain and their programs in their school. So this is going to be a great time for them to utilize that knowledge and implement them in their skill set. So you'll see here, this is the progression of the NASPO Internship Program over the years. So the program did start back in 2017. You'll see that we've had a range of states, and in these maps over here, you'll see which states got to participate highlighted in red. So for 2022, we plan to select 12 states to receive the grant funding. Please keep in mind that the grant will be awarded on a first come, first served basis by region, and we're going to try to give preference to first time applicants. All right, so let's talk a little bit about our academic partners. So NASPO has 8 academic partners: Arizona State University, Iowa State University, Oregon State, Chemeketa Community College, which is also located in Oregon, Michigan State University, North Carolina State, Penn State, and then GW Law. So I do want to point out interns can only come from one of our 8 academic partners. So what this means for you all is that your application pool is going to be filled with students who come from our top tier supply chain programs that we've been building strong relationships with over the years. So students are going to be learning about the internship opportunities in your state through classroom presentations, career fairs that we've attended in the fall and will be attending in the spring semesters. And then we're going to be posting your job descriptions if you're selected on the school's job board. So this job board is a recruiting platform such as Handshake, Simplicity, Core. So once your job descriptions are ready, we'll go ahead and post those on the job boards. So the hiring managers from each of the state, you will actually be in charge of the interviewing and hiring process. So when we've posted your position, any interested students are going to go ahead and apply through their school's job board, and then you'll receive an email. So you can go through that student's application file, their resume, their cover letter, and then you'll go ahead and set up the interviewing process.
So Brandy, I'll just jump in there for a second.
Certainly.
For the folks that haven't participated in the program before, as Brandy said, the hiring is completely up to the state, right? NASPO's role here is obviously to provide the funding and then to support you in posting the job description and things like that. So as Brandy touched on, and I'm sure when she goes through the timeline, she'll show this again, but if your state is selected, you send us a job description, we get that out to all of our partners that are here on their job boards. It's posted and then they apply directly to your state, right? Or the hiring is done directly through your state. So they're able to submit their applications through the hiring boards that we have, and we set it up so you're able to view those applications as well. And then you go through your your own hiring process. With the universities that we have here, obviously our primary contact and interaction is with the supply chain management program for these universities. That's who we partner with, but we do have students from other programs within those universities that apply. I know there have been students that have been selected as interns from other business majors or other programs in government or outside of that. So that's fine as well. Just because our partnerships with the supply chain management program doesn't mean that you're not able to interview and select candidates potentially from other departments. So again, feel free to put any questions that you have into the Q&A or the chat box. I'm trying to check that. And Brandy, I'll let you go on there.
Perfect. Thanks, Matt. All right, so talking a little bit about how funding works. So each of the selected states are going to receive a $20,000 grant. So this grant is going to be utilized to pay the student's wages as your intern. And then if your internship is going to be in person, you can designate an amount for housing. We've seen states designate anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 for the housing stipend. So that's really going to be up to you. That we do ask for ahead of time in writing. That way, when we're communicating with the students, if they have any questions, they'll know that that housing stipend is going to be available, so that if they have to move to the state for the summertime, they won't have to worry about how they're going to pay for those costs. So once the student does accept the internship position, we'll go ahead and send them a housing agreement, and then they will return that to us. We'll send them a check for their housing stipend, and then the state will receive the rest of the grant. So that housing stipend will be subtracted from the $20,000 grant that we send over to you all. Okay, so talking a little bit about the process and timeline for summer of 2022. Right now, internship agreement letters are going out. CPOs do need to email me in order to receive an internship agreement letter. So what we are asking is, if you're a CPO, please go ahead and email me so you can receive your personalized agreement. If you are attending this internship webinar on behalf of your CPO, you can just email me and then copy your CPO on the email, so we know that the state is interested in hosting an intern. The deadline to sign and return those agreement letters is going to be this upcoming Monday on the 18th. So if we could get them returned by then, that would be fantastic. The internship application is going to open online on October 25th. That is a Monday. I will be sending out the link to those applications to anyone who has signed and returned the internship agreement letter. So that agreement letter is really going to be key in order for you to actually get the link to complete the internship application itself. And then the internship application will close 2 weeks later on November 8th at 5 p.m. Even though the gap is going to be 2 weeks to complete that internship application, as we mentioned previously, it is on a first come, first served basis. So I do recommend getting those internship applications completed as soon as possible. We plan to notify selected states in early November. And then once you are notified that you are selected, we will ask for a job description within 10 days. And that way we can go ahead and post those on the academic partners job boards as soon as possible. So around the week of Thanksgiving is when we plan to post those. We've talked with all of our academic partners. They said November is a great time of the year to start posting applications for summer. So we just want to make sure that we're staying within this timeline. Oh, and then I do want to reiterate as well, once those applications start coming in and you start receiving those email notifications of students applying to your internship, you're welcome to start going through those as you please, and then start that interviewing process when it's convenient for you. I will say though, a lot of our academic partners have said that many students start accepting their internship opportunities early on. So the sooner you can start your interview process, the better off you will be, especially for your applicant pool. Okay, so talking about a couple different roadblocks with HR. One thing is make sure you're working with your HR department early to make sure that the internship role is possible and that your state can receive the funding with us. I do recommend developing your job description early. In the application, we are going to be asking for a brief version of your job description. So I recommend starting to think about what special projects and responsibilities you will be asking of your intern. With that, decide on how much you're going to pay your intern and the duration of the internship. We've seen states usually have their intern between 10 and 16 weeks, so around May to September, usually when school starts and then starts back up again. Think about if you want your internship to be virtual or in person. We encourage it to be in person, but considering with the pandemic, many students do understand if their internship does need to be remote. And just think about those tools and resources you might need to accommodate both. And then last but not least, if you are selected, you may receive any applications from international students. That being said, check with HR and your policy to ensure that your applicant meets any specific needs as far as being qualified to work in the US. All right, so just a couple different resources that NASPO can offer to you when developing your internship job description and going through this process. We do have an internship toolkit on our website, and I'm happy to email any of this out to anyone who is interested. This toolkit does have valuable resources in conducting interviews with students, creating an offer letter, preparing your intern for his or her first day, creating an orientation. We've seen that a lot of states are successful when they have an orientation plan set up for their student and potentially developing a mentorship piece within the internship itself. So the intern knows exactly who they can go to with any questions. And then the internship toolkit establishes learning outcomes and goals for you to think about. If you're wanting an intern, but you don't know what type of projects you should outline, or you're interested in seeing past job descriptions, we do have them from the previous years. So I'm happy to send those out to anybody who would like to take a look at those. Of course, you have the NASPO network as a resource for you. A few resources that I recommend for students. The first would be the Procurement EU courses. So we've had several states assign or at least make available to their intern the Procurement EU courses. And this is something we talk about with students as well that are interested in an internship with public procurement, but maybe don't have the knowledge, background, or experience. We've pointed them in the direction of these courses so they can kind of get an idea of what may be expected of them or can utilize the knowledge during their internship. The intro courses are going to be free for NASPO interns. Our NASPO student membership piece, this is really going to be key. Registration is free, and with this NASPO internship, students will actually receive a free copy of the NASPO practical guide. I do recommend this as another educational tool to utilize with your intern as well. And then of course, you have access to both Matt and myself and the rest of the NASPO staff. So just kind of talking about the NASPO Internship Program as a model for your state, really what our main goal here is we would like to see our state start to establish a pipeline, whether that be with our academic partners or whether that be, making a local connection with your state, your local college or your local university, really start to set that pipeline to get students interested and engaged with public procurement. As Matt previously mentioned, it doesn't have to be just supply chain. We can go general, meeting with students that are from a business, finance, public policy world. These are students that, perhaps don't know much about public procurement, but if they get hands-on with an internship, if they see their local central purchasing office coming into their into their classroom to do a presentation or tabling at their school, this is what's really going to kickstart that interest and that knowledge that we're looking for to get into our schools with our students. All right, so I know that was pretty quick. I just wanted to give that general information for you to be thinking about with our NASPO internship program. Like I said, I just want to reiterate that we do need those internship agreement letters from the CPO to be signed before we can go ahead and release the actual application that will be available on October 25th. But is there any questions? I can also go ahead and unmute anybody if you want to go ahead and raise your hand, or you can put your question in the chat or the Q&A. Just wait another minute to see if anybody is possibly typing in a question or wants to raise their hand to ask a question.
Yeah, when we're waiting on that, Brandy, I would just say, based off our experience in the past with states, I know Brandy said it, but I got to reiterate it. The sooner the better, right? In terms of getting your job description out and starting the hiring process. We talk to students and faculty regularly, and some students already have their internships lined up for next summer, right? And a lot of them will by January or February. So, the earlier, the better. And I know that can be difficult, but certainly let us know if there's anything we can help with when it comes to job description or starting, the interview process once the positions are posted. So, yep, see question. Yeah, PowerPoint, we'll make that available. And you can always reach out to us with questions, and let's see. So Aaron from Indiana asked, do students seem willing to travel to other states? Yeah, we, Aaron, have had, of course, pre-pandemic, we have had students from our universities going all across the country, right? We've had students go to Alaska, had ASU students go to the East Coast. I do think in some cases, it's been easier for states to hire with some of the universities near them. But we haven't had issues with states, being able to find students that are willing to travel. I mean, I think a lot of students are. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But we haven't seen too many issues with that in the past. Yeah, and the housing stipend, Stacy, mentions this. The housing stipend does help. We have had that, for students, especially if they are not hired until later in the spring. Finding housing is sometimes an issue, right? So that's where having the stipend specifically for that you're able to provide to them directly, that has been helpful. So I know, in some cases, students have had to put a deposit down for their house for the summer, whatever they're doing, and that housing stipend has been utilized for that, right? Because it is, it's deducted from the 20,000, but that stipend is sent directly to them with whatever you decide to make that for.
Matt, we did have a question. Do students need to be a certain year in university to apply? I can go ahead.
Yeah, they do not. So that is up to you, Natalie. That's based off of your interviews and your review of their resume. So we don't put any qualifications on that when we post it, right, in the job sites. So that is up to you.
And I do also want to add on to that, you could get students that are undergrads or graduate students. One of our partners is GW Law, so you'll have rising 1L and 2L students that are applying to these internships. So that's something to consider. Any other questions? So we will go ahead and post this in the NASPO network. So if you want to reference this later on, I'm also happy to answer any questions that you may have after today. So if you want, you can also email me at bawillard@naspo.org. When you are working on your job descriptions, Please, like Matt said, reach out to us with any questions. If you want to see any job descriptions or projects from the past, I'm happy to share those as well. Earlier today, we shared some intern highlights with 2 interns from summer 2021. They shared their stories. That was posted on the all members community this morning. So please feel free to go through that, read a little bit about their experience, and that'll kind of give you some insight into the kind of students you'll be getting. I will say, you know, these partnerships we have with these academic partners, these students are very excited and they're ready and they're engaged. So the sooner we can begin this process with them, I think you'll have a stronger application pool. But that is all I have. Thank you so much for everybody signing on today. Reach out if you have any questions and we'll get this onto the network.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.